Good afternoon, this is Stouffville Now, and I'm your host, Sarah Newton. Thank you for tuning in today. On the show, Edward Nelles and I have a chance to sit down with Rob Hargrave, now Councillor of Ward 6, who's just recently thrown his hat into the ring for the next election, in hopes to continue on as Councillor of Ward 6. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, now, Councillor, you've come out with your transportation plank in your platform, and that focuses on GO and on YRT.
Yes.
And you're proposing the establishment of a citizens consultative committee to liaise with council, talk about the needs of the community for transportation purposes, and also to establish a portfolio in council of a YRT or GO Transit liaison within the York region. And now, is that sort of it's your first plank in the platform? Is it the most important thing facing the community?
I think all my planks are important.
Okay.
So what I've looked at is what really impact the residents and the citizens. Transportation is critical. We live, sometimes we don't think about it, we live beside a city. Markham's no longer a town. It's a 300,000 population city. And right now, we're not serviced properly. So Stouffville is serviced by two transportation providers, and that's Metrolinx and YRT, which is the York Region. York Region is the grassroots to our transportation through busing. We have two routes, Route 9 and Route 15. Route 9 goes down the 9th line, and it doesn't run on the weekends. Mm-hmm. If you want to get to Markham on the weekends, you'd have to take Route 15 that goes along Stouffville Road, down Yonge Street and back. It'd take you an hour and 35 minutes, because I Googled that, and it's just not acceptable. Mm-hmm. So we need more connectivity, and that has to happen from the York regional point. So we need somebody to kind of bird dog them and be accountable at the region. What we really need is a regional councillor, but that's another story. Edward, that's another conversation, but we do desperately need a regional councillor. Mm-hmm. The second is the GO, Metrolinx. And here's the thing that people don't realize is back in 2008, and it's called the Big Move. Mm-hmm. And the provincial government put aside $11 billion to upgrade the transportation systems within the GTA, and that goes out to Hamilton. So municipalities and regions were allotted this money, and I don't think a lot of people understand where that went, because it just, for me, when I did my research, $11 billion is unbelievable. But out of that $11 billion, we got the Lincolnville station. That's a result of that initiative back then. And Lincolnville is amazing when you think of the facility up there. It is a yard to look after the trains, maintenance. But right now we have 6 trains that service the town in the morning and at night. I think that we need a later train in the morning, and I totally believe that we need it at night as well. But also we need is a weekend service. We're 42,000 people. Mm-hmm. We need a weekend service to get us down, and that's connectivity. And that's your tax dollars. So if they put $11 billion aside, let's start using it. And that's a voice where we have to bring in our partner. And I say partner, that's our MPP, which is our provincial minister, into the fold, and ask her how we can get this scheduled so that we can have weekend services. Mm-hmm. The region, it really comes down to going over there and bird dogging them and getting that extra weekend service for Route 9. The amazing thing is that every 15 cents of every tax dollar that we pay for the region goes to transportation.
Wow.
So we, rightfully, deservedly, we need better service. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other thing I mentioned is we need transit shelters. Yeah. I see people standing out there, and this winter has been exceptionally cold. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no excuse for that.
Good point.
Yep. You know, we're 42,000 people. Right. Do your taxes, and times 15 cents. Oh. We need shelters.
Yeah.
I've done that math.
It seems to me that GO, Metrolinx, makes it very easy to leave Stouffville and go down to Toronto and come back from Toronto to Stouffville, of course. But YRT doesn't make it so easy to move around Stouffville for those without transportation altogether.
Yeah, it's a little bit problematic. And there again, I think we have to sit down and come to the table from a different angle. Ward 6, again, is a third of the population. We don't have service up to Eastern Gate. Mm-hmm. And there's seniors up there. There's no excuse for that.
Exactly.
We don't have service down the Durham line and across Hoover Park. That's a lot of population down there. Mm-hmm. So somebody, and I think it's indicative of every government, governments tend to operate on a status quo. until you get involved and you go there and you hammer them over the head and say, look, we need some attention here. And that's what we need here. We need attention. Because this population in Stouffville is now relying on public transit. And, you know, we, as councillors, are looking at the day-to-day operations of the town, and sometimes we have to step back and say, what are the services, and how can we improve upon them? So this is one that I've stepped back and said we have to improve.
But there again, you have the issue of then you're taking Stouffville from that country strip town into a little bit more of a tight-knit community that resembles something closer to Markham.
Well, Sarah, we're not going to be Markham, and I keep saying that because our growth is, we can only grow so high. And we're not going to grow high, and we're not going to grow wide. We're only going to be to what we physically, from the Moraine Act, can be. But what we want to do is deliver the best services.
Yeah, because you're also welcoming 5,000 new residences into your ward in the coming term. Is that?
Well, within the next phase 3 lands, will be 4,000 homes.
Yeah.
And that development is going north of the sales barn northwest. But we're going to be welcoming, we're 42, we're going to be welcoming 20,000 more people. So you need, here's the amazing thing, when I first got elected, we didn't have the infrastructure. It was amazing how you took it. When you talk about transit, that's an infrastructure that you need in the ground.
Yeah.
No question.
You need to build, when you build a town, you need sewers, you need water, you need roads, you need all of that. What sometimes we forget about is, what about how do you move people?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the responsibility of the region. The region does not, right now, is not holding up their obligation at 15
Which goes
cents.
back to your point of a regional councillor.
Absolutely.
As being the best way to make sure...
Yeah, you absolutely have to be. If you're not on top of government, government will run over you.
government will be on top of you.
Exactly. Well, they're not on us every day.